I just realized you have your Waterbuck shirt on. They really should sponsor us.
Generally. Good evening.
When nobody wants to talk to you.
Gotta click like. Perhaps everybody's surprised we're on time.
Very funny. Very funny.
Good evening. South Africa, wow.
We're going to give it a couple minutes, let some people float on in here.
Good evening. Oh, everybody's coming in. We didn't have any videos put out last week because I did something very, very interesting. I had my first apprentice for a 9-day, really intense education on mechanics of firearms, ammunition, and such. This young mechanical engineer is a senior right now, and on the 20th he's heading out to LWRCI for a 2-month internship. But we brought him up to speed on all the mechanics of the operating systems, locking systems, pressure curves, different types of mechanisms, history of ammunition and rifles, and it was a lot of fun. I do expect a lot from John in the future. As you guys know, our industry, we need young people. We need engineers. We need people who are going to push this forward. Our Second Amendment rights, as well as this industry. Our industry, especially here in the United States, is desperate for young blood, people who have fresh ideas. Our companies we have in the United States right now, they have one platform, and all they want to do is modify that platform. They don't want to do anything new. So that's one of the things we really need in our industry right now. But we'll be back to work this week. As I said, this was a 9-day intense
Technically
thing.
Speaking, I did not take off, so I don't know what 9-day vacation.
We didn't do videos.
I did videos. We have videos, guys.
Yes.
Don't listen to him. We have videos. In fact, I have an amazing hour-long video tour with Chris Royce. He's the former lead engineer for SIG and Caracal, and he has done the MCX and MPX, and he gets
SIG 5, 16, 5, 17.
Walk you through what it's like to, be an engineer of those kinds of weapons and systems.
Well, as you know, we're interested in mechanics here. We're not an entertainment show. We're educational, and these go along with sort of the way we do things. We're going to find out what it's like to develop a firearm, how you start with a request, and how you walk through the process. We'll talk about real world testing versus a lot of the entertainment you see on the internet. Chris is a brilliant man who's responsible for some of the most influential
and
weapons.
He does not do interviews.
He never does interviews.
And I can tell you right now, please, when you watch that video tomorrow, it will be live at 12 p.m. Central Time. Please leave a nice, good comment below for him, because he is extremely nervous about this video. He does not do interviews.
No, he doesn't like taking credit for what he's done either. He likes to give to everybody else.
We made sure to include his team that he had in the development of these rifles, because he is a very humble man, a very respectful man that wants to give credit where it is due, and that is to his whole team and not just to himself. So please leave a nice comment on that video tomorrow, because I'm sure he will appreciate it.
Yes.
And again, the Chris had a little 9-day hiatus. I did not. I worked on all of the interview videos.
We worked real hard, but like I said, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, but you're saying that we're back to work. No, I never stopped working.
I'm back to doing videos this coming week.
We're back to doing regular videos this coming week, but tomorrow will be the Chris Rory's video. And then on Wednesday, I will have the first video of Centurion with
Really
Bonnie
gonna be
LeClaire,
awesome too.
and that's amazing. And then we have a second video that they did together that will be over next weekend too. So you will have regular videos that are, you have 3 coming in the next few days. So, and they're all really long ones too, but yeah.
We got lots of cool stuff coming up. We're gonna hit the range on Monday. We got all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure we're behind and backlogged.
Yes, we are.
Yes, for anyone who is joining us tonight to win this amazing mug, Chris, would you like to showcase it?
The
We
man's
have
mug.
been raffling this mug for the last couple weeks. It is made of billet steel.
Aluminum. Billet aluminum.
Billet aluminum, sorry.
1913 rails, which we have the Vanta covers on here. This is separate. This is regular M4 charging handle. We do have a code for these, so you guys can save.
As he looks at me.
Yeah, look
Okay.
at her.
Well,
She has
first of all, we have been raffling this mug off. It is valued at over $300. It will come with the SAS logo on it, and just like Chris's logo, he has his name at the bottom of it. Your name will also be down at the bottom of it.
Yep.
And we have all the tickets inside of the mug right now. If anyone would like to, don't spell them out, please. If anyone would like to last minute enter, you will have about 20 minutes to do so, and then at around 8:30, we will pull the name from there. But you can buy tickets on smallarmsolutions.com, and you'll see where it says Father's Day raffle. Your money goes to help the channel and keeps us going and all of that. If you are not interested in participating in that and you just want to buy one of these yourself, I do know that this one that he does have has been out of stock. Supply chain demand issues like everything else. Yeah, that we have a code. It is SAS to get 10% off, and it's all of the Battle Mug stuff, and that's I believe it's just battlemug.com. But yeah, Chris loves their stuff, and
it's an awesome company. It's a veteran owned, and they do a lot of stuff to help out veterans. So it's also an awesome charity organization for veterans.
So we are going to get going, guys.
And that is a man's mug.
And hopefully we're not going to have any video or sound issues or in the internet, as gods are going to be with us tonight and not creating problems. I swear to God, it's the heat in Texas that's melting all the internet lines. If you guys would like to donate tonight during the show, you can do that by clicking the $sign, and that is the super chat function. You can donate to get your question bumped to the top to get priority, or just donate because you would like to contribute. Our preferred method of donation is through DonorBox. Those links are on smallarmsolutions.com. I'm also going to plop it into the chat line right here. You can use that link throughout the chat tonight to get your question bumped to the top, and I'll get an email, and my phone's right here, and keep it very close. And same concept. I'll pull it and it'll get bumped to the top, and just add your question to the comment section. DonorBox only takes 3%. Google takes 30% of your money. So that's quite a cut into, funds these days. And I know everybody's hurting, especially with these gas prices.
We have a Kiwi in here.
Killing us
New
all.
Zealand.
Sean on DonorBox. Thank you, Sean. He just left a donation. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
Kevin on DonorBox wants to know, what is your favorite way to induce a realistic brass overbolt angled malfunction for classes? I'm not sure if there is a better way. We drilled out the back of the receiver extension in adjustable stock. We insert a spent case over the bolt and run the BCG forward with a live cartridge in the magazine. A mallet is used to smash a rod through the drilled hole receiver extension so the BCG is forced forward, similar to what would happen in real life. That works well, but many instructors get mad because their instructions to clear a brass overbolt malfunction do not work. That is why the BCG is seated forward.
Yeah, that's can be a very difficult malfunction. I mean, I can't really think of a better, reality is that's one that's going to take you down when that cartridge case gets stuck up there. That's one that I talk about in my armor's classes, but I really can't demonstrate. I can demonstrate failures to lock. I can, we can do failures to eject and things like that. But that one there is a little bit hard to induce.
Mark on DonorBox, thank you, Mark. He wants to know, Krebs Custom is building core AKs with back and nitrided barrels. Could you compare and contrast these with the CHF barrels found on most imports and the FN CHF barrels put on some US made AKs?
The cold hammer forged barrels, again, you're getting into some interesting territory because for an AK type rifle, to me, it would be a cold hammer forged chrome line barrel across the board. Krebs likes to make custom rifles. He likes to make accurate rifles. So my guess is he's going with those kind of barrels because he wants to get the most precision he can out of them. Uh, Again, I don't look at an AK as a precision weapon. I look at it as a combat weapon. And for me, I certainly would prefer the cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, especially if you guys have any old ammunition lying around that very well could be corrosive.
Kevin on Donor Box wants to know, what is a good way to explain the fact that CLP does not burn off because it is, quote, a cheap oil? The military is not dumb, and the G96 is an excellent CLP product that includes a solvent that is supposed to evaporate away as part of the cleaning part of CLP. I hear so much derp from the police instructors, and they have no idea what CLP is and how it works. Those chemists are smart people, and the other magic lube don't pass MilPerf 63460 of any spec. So many instructors speak with authority on topics that they do not understand.
That's one of the issues that you will find across the board in this industry. You find a lot of self-proclaimed experts who make opinions and they don't know what they're talking about. Which is why generally when I tell you something, it's not an opinion. It's based off of fact that can point you in the direction of where it comes from. CLP, the stuff prior to the G96, the Revs A through D was garbage, especially the break free. The break free was one that would burn off and it would leave that sticky Teflon on there that would cause things to stick. G96 is a it's completely synthetic, and the newest revision now is bio. And these are precision type chemicals that work excellent. They do not burn off. We've shot that full auto. That stuff you can use up to artillery. It does not burn up. It's not the same as what we've had in the past. So when people hear the word CLP, automatically they think generally about the break free garbage, not what we currently have. And the current stuff, as I said, I've done my own testing. I've seen the U.S. government testing documents. I've seen everything that I needed to prove to me what this equipment is. And this is not cheap by no means. This is probably one of the most expensive CLPs that are out there. But the U.S. government had a lot of requests, a lot of standards that they needed, and there's very few companies that can produce one that does that. So unfortunately, you come across a lot of self-proclaimed experts who they have very deep-rooted opinions when they have no facts to back it up. Unfortunately, nothing we can do about that, which is why I generally don't give you my opinions. I will present something to you and say this is why it's best, and that's what I've done with you guys. But why I use G96 over these years, their solvents and their CLP. The documentation is right there that proves it.
What are your thoughts on experts using clearly marked reference dimensions on prints to reject parts instead of the actual specifications on the prints? The experts do not have the equipment to measure something as simple as a spring, so they just make stuff up out of thin air. I also don't think that the experts know what a reference dimension is on a print, but they are so confident of themselves at the same time, they don't know how to inspect parts, but don't know what metrology means.
Well, there's actually, you're dealing with a couple issues here. First, when it comes to drawings, what drawings are they talking about? Because they generally have a very difficult time getting access to the actual U.S. government drawings. So the drawings they have are their own. Now, companies that are not do not have the mill standards generally don't have access to the equipment to do this. If you were to look at Colt or FN, who are U.S. contractors, they have their own metrology departments where everything is coming in from some contractors and everything has to be tested to verify that it's the same material and the same processes that was done in the TDP. Therefore, they know what the spring has to be. They know what the weight of the spring has to be. They know what heat treating on metal has to be. They have to verify all this stuff, and that's done as part of the QC. Any manufacturer who's making anything, they're using their own drawings, or they're just buying from one or two sources. And exactly who they get their drawings from, I have no idea. Again, you're talking about experts in reverse engineering, which is pretty much what everybody does. For the most part, you have companies that are professional and can do it properly, and you have other ones who can't. The QC for one company may be very different from another. Another one makes sure, yep, it's a spring, it passes. Other ones may actually test to make sure they have the proper weights by doing pressure tests on them. And some if they have the ability to verify the materials. Because again, having a metrology department in house is a very expensive, and the equipment is very expensive, and these small companies don't have that ability.
Do you think the M4 will be fully replaced by the M5, or will we have some in inventory, or will they always have some in
I
inventory?
don't believe that the XM5 or the M5 is going to replace the M4. I believe this is going to be a AN94 situation where it's adopted and then they realize that it's not practical for the soldier. And they're going to go back to the M4. I could certainly be wrong. I don't know everything, but my opinion is this gun is not what the U.S. military needs. You're going backwards. You're going back to M14s, where we should have learned our lesson in Vietnam.
Have you ever considered doing a Houston meetup?
Excuse me?
Have you ever considered doing a Houston meetup?
That's you.
I think we've talked about it before. I think back when the NRA show was going to be here last year, we talked about doing it, but then that was canceled, and then I ended up with, being sick during the NRA this year and couldn't really do anything. I mean, um, yeah, I just don't know what it would look like or how it would function. I mean, I'm definitely open to it. If anyone had any ideas on what that would look like, or making sure that we would have, a good turnout, that would be
Yeah,
great.
that's what's difficult. This is, I'd hate to see people travel here just for something like that. I mean, it's
It's something I could see. Like, you'd have to give me a second to think about it, because my mind is always working in SAS 24/7, and it might be something really interesting to do around the time that well, it's always so complicated to say, but Black Rifle 2, which was renamed America's Rifle. I want to say America's Rifle because that's what it's called now, but that confuses people because it's, Black Rifle 2. Contractually, we had to change the name, but that would be fun to do when the, America's Rifle launches, because then you could have people come and, get signatures and, I don't know, but I'd have to see like what that would look like and where we would have that, and what kind of turnout there would be for that. So
I like meeting people. As I said, that's her and for her. See how to make it happen.
yeah, um, yeah. Do you think the 5.56 could still be developed to tackle future body armor like the 6.8?
Um, if you've ever heard of the M995, the M995 will do pretty much anything that 6.8 will do. At reasonable ranges. Again, you're not gonna have your average soldier is not gonna fire beyond 300 yards. I don't care what system you get on them. So they're carrying a lot of extra weight. If you want penetration, we have ammunition that works in 5.56 that will give you that penetration. The M995 is a brutal cartridge for as far as penetration. It goes through very thick armor. It's expensive ammunition to produce. Um, the best duty round out there would be the Mark 262, like the Kiwis are doing in New Zealand. That is the best round that's out there because it's designed as an anti-personnel round, not something for knocking down mud huts. But that ammunition does exist
I
in
love this.
5.56.
I love this comment. DV8 said, "So Chris went on a boondoggle and left Heather with all the work. Men, so difficult." Well, that's why I love how you're just like, "Oh yeah, we've been off for like 9." I'm like, "Who's been off? I haven't been off." In fact, he didn't. He was not, because this even went through the weekend too. Like, this was intense.
Yep,
And
very
as
intense. We had
soon
a
as
little time.
he would be done, he would be like, "I'm gonna go take a nap," and I'd be like, "I need you to do some work." And one day I had just finally had it, and I had this hour-long video that I needed him to edit, and I just kept going, "Video, video. It's an hour long video," and he was not very happy with me. Um, Matthew, thoughts on AKs chambered in 5.56, like the PSA or the upcoming Kalashnikov USA KR 101?
Well, I can tell you the ones I've had extensive experience with are the Zastava and the Baril and the Galil Ace. Those are the three that I have extensive use on, and those work excellent. Um, Unfortunately, with the unpleasantness of the ban on Russian ammunition, I'm sort of concerned on the availability of 7.62 by 39, and that's inexpensive. So I definitely can see a lot more AKs becoming available in 5.56, so they can be used with ammunition that we actually manufacture here in the United States, and some of it at reasonable prices. You'll never see American ammunition as cheap as that Russian ammunition was. Um, Myself, I love 5.45 by 39. That's my favorite of all of the AK calibers. But you will see a video coming out in the very near future on the Zastava and the Baril. Of course, you have the Gilil Ace, which is a wonderful rifle, just a little hard to suppress. So you need to put the KNS adjustable piston in there to get that gas down so you can suppress it.
Dustin on Donor Box, he said he has no question tonight. Well, thank you so much, Dustin.
Thank you.
Tad on Donor Box. He said, sorry about the Texas heat. At least you don't have to deal with wildfires. I mean, true. Although I can tell you right now, our grass is so dry, it looks like a wildfire is about to start there.
Yeah.
He says, I was very irresponsible and bought both a Beretta PX4 Storm and a Beretta 92 FS, both in 9mm. I heard Chris's Italian accent saying, buy them. I'm not even going to try to do that. Buy them.
They're looking nice.
They're looking nice. In regards to the Beretta 92, which kind of magazine is the best 92 style to get, i.e. sand resistant coating, or skip it and get the basic mag?
Well, if you're in a desert environment, I would go for the sand resistant, but for normal use, buy factory Beretta magazines. Don't buy anybody else's. If you buy factory Beretta magazines, you will never ever have problems. I'm sure there's some other ones that are out there that may be different. I mean, Mekar is an excellent magazine. They make some of them for Beretta, so I would say Mekars are good. But stick with factory Beretta magazines or Mekars. You will never have a problem. For as far as the finish is concerned, unless you're planning on running in the desert, getting sand up, and I wouldn't really worry about the nickel finish for the M91 magazines.
Apparently, Matt gave you a nice shout out this week.
Who did?
Mac.
Oh yeah. We talked. When he was doing his research on the tobacco rifles, he gave me a holler, and we went over that stuff.
Brent says he recently got a 14-inch Bren 2 pistol and a 16-inch Bren 2 rifle. He says he needs to rewatch your Bren 2 content.
Well, my 14.5 pistol is now an SBR. It looks like it's supposed to. Very close to the actual Czech rifle. Unfortunately, we had those shorter handguards on them, which sort of sucks. But they are an awesome, awesome rifle. I love my 14.5-inch Bren 2.
Can you tell me what buffer crane used in the Mark 18?
Mark 18 was a regular rifle length. I'm sorry, was a regular H buffer. The Mark 18 does not have a heavy barrel. It has a lightweight profile barrel, so those are using standard H buffers.
I am armed security at my job right now. Which is better at defeating 3A body armor, green tip 5.56 or green tip 300 blackout high velocity?
The 5.56. Oh, both of them would do it. So I wouldn't be concerned with either one, either round. You have to understand that the green tip is not armor piercing. It basically has a penetrator core in it, and it doesn't do that much more. If you want true armor piercing, you're looking at M855A1, which probably does about 50% better than the M855. And if you need AP, that's the M995. But if you, pretty much any load that you're going to get in 5.56 or 300 blackout, as long as it's supersonic, will go through most body armor that you will see, especially at close ranges.
Do you still like and recommend the SIG 716i AR-10 rifle?
Oh, absolutely. It's the 716 is a little bit bigger than most, but for external piston, it's an excellent rifle. I have no problem with that rifle at all. I do have to say the internal piston one, I think you probably get a little bit more accuracy out of it, but they're excellent guns.
Which brand of firing pin is best to get for full auto bolt in an AR-15?
A regular M16 firing pin. You don't need to waste your money on these titanium. You need to waste money on bougie things that don't really make any kind of a difference.
Would you accept a What Would Stoner Do rifle to review for its merits as a rifle concept, ignoring the historical discrepancy?
I've actually been trying to get one from Brownells for quite some time, but eventually I do hope to get one. Again,
concept behind it, yeah.
All you had to do is look at what Stoner Green Knight. He went back to work on a 308. That was what he. again, that's my opinion. Ian and Carl have their own opinions. That's fine too.
Yeah, I've seen a couple buffer error messages popping up. Let's just pray that it's just I swear it's the Texas heat here. We've had a lot of issues with internet. They've been out here almost every day.
The optic wires are melting.
Probably. Are you kidding? Let's see. Did you get to shoot 320 10mm yet?
Actually, I have to go pick it up. It just arrived at my FFL, so I actually have to go pick up 3 cans and that. So
The
hopefully,
problem with his FFL is it's 45 minutes away, and it's like it just the cost in gas is just so astronomical. I'm like, can you please just wait a little bit longer before you go do that?
yeah, I got 3 suppressors in, and I got that to pick up. So hopefully this weekend or early next week.
What do you think about the quality of Arsenal 5.56 SLR 106F rifles?
They're very, they're certainly very nice. Absolutely. If you really want to know those, I would go to Michiko. Michiko has some really awesome videos on those. I have some experience with them, but he's probably got a lot more because he's a big AK guy. I've reviewed the 7.62 by 39 Arsenals in the past, and I do have one of the Arsenal 5.45s. They're very, very well made rifles. I'm also a fan of the stamp sheet metal lightweight ones. I'm not as much for the milled rifles, where some people do like that. But for as far as the quality is concerned, they're second to none. They're excellent quality.
Do you have any experience with the Federal Punch 22 long rifle ammo? They say it's the most powerful.
No, I don't, and unfortunately, Federal does not supply to my channel. We're not big enough. Every time I try to make a request for some of these newer types of ammunition from Federal, they tell me no. So I think I've about given up because I've been told no so many times. There's again, they do fund some, they do sponsor some of the channels, but these are the guys with the million plus. So a little guy like me, they won't give any time of day to. Even though I do talk well their ammunition, I do carry their HST in my guns. But I think that's probably going to change coming up pretty soon too. But like I said, I can't get anything from Federal. They won't even talk to me.
I'm really hoping to hit 100,000 soon. That's like for me, that's like a
That's a
personal
big deal.
goal that I've had, and like it's going to be amazing. So if make sure you share the videos and the links and comment, even if it's just for the algorithm, and any little thing helps.
I hope to hit it by the end of the year.
I hope so. Yeah, I would love it. And more people like Mac who share the
Yeah.
channel, but a lot of times they don't want to do it because it becomes like competition away from their own channels, especially when you have the experience to be able to
Yeah.
talk
Mac's
on
a
these
great guy.
things.
When I help him with something, he always mentions me. He's Mac is a really good guy, and Michiko. Those are probably the 2 guys that they're the only 2 other guys I really talk to.
Well, the thing is a lot of these guys will want to use your knowledge, and they will message about getting stuff to use for their videos, and I'm talking about the big
Yeah,
channels, and I'm not going to
we've had
name
a
them.
couple of those.
I'm not going to name them, but big channels, and it's like, yeah, I know, like you don't support our channel in any way, but you want him to add the historical, technical information that you need to make your video look like you have that knowledge, and it's not going to do it.
Yeah, I keep my circle very close. Like I says, Mac and
Mac has
Michiko.
helped out a lot too
Mhm.
with getting him 9mm ammo and
Ammunition.
stuff.
Yes.
And Michiko will forget it. I mean, the man's a walking,
Yeah.
encyclopedia as far as firearms go, and he also lends a lot of rifles to
And
our channel.
he's a
He
personal friend.
shares,
Yeah.
he's a guy who shares, and yeah, so
He wants education. He wants everybody to be educated. He helps a lot of channels. Him and Mac are good friends. Him and
yeah.
the AK Operators Union. All those guys.
For PSA AK 104, would you go GF3 nitride or GF4 with a PSA CHF CL barrel? Pros and cons of each.
Again, I believe in chrome plating, in that cold hammer forge. That's my, that is military grade. They last longer. For as far as the nitride is concerned, it definitely is less expensive. It's claimed to be much more, a little more accurate barrel because of the fact that it is a treatment. It's not a plating, so you're not affecting the rifling at all. I have yet to see any documentation to convince me either way that nitride is better. until I see something come out of White Laboratory where they do a side-by-side comparison and they actually give us real raw data from somebody who's got no dog in the fight. I will stay as my go-to whenever I can. Cold Hammer Forge chrome plated barrels.
Jolly Crocodile, what are he wants to know what books for guns and military history you've ever read and what's your favorite book in general. Probably We Were Soldiers, but we have an Amazon store and the link should be in the description box. And I have a whole section that's dedicated to books where he goes over his favorite books. Oh, most of those are probably collector grade
Yes, they
books.
are, and
And
they're
so
expensive
if
now.
you can find any that are still in stock, I would definitely get those while you can. But
There is one that I definitely would mention. It's the news version of Assault Rifles by Gary Johnston and
his
Johnson and
his
Nelson.
bookcase is right over
Yeah,
here.
that is probably one of the most complete books that there is. They're very expensive in hard copy, but you can get them on Kindle. Gary Johnston he's probably the one that got me into wanting to be writing. I read his stuff when I was a teenager, young, and he was sort of one of the guys who inspired me to want to write. But this is probably one of the best books out there for one. If you wanted one book that covers pretty much everything, is that.
And speaking of books, in the interview that we did with Monty from Centurion, I thought it was really interesting. Part of the interview, he talks about how he had his kind of life planned out until his father gave him a book. And that is what made him want to be a SEAL. So I have that book recommendation listed in the video, and you'll see that on Wednesday. Um, One of the most interesting things that's still like, as soon as the camera was off, I was like, "You didn't know how to swim?" Like this man became a Navy SEAL and didn't know how
Yeah,
to swim at all. Like that's how much you have a passion for something and you go after what you want. You definitely can make it through to
I
the
joined
end.
the army because if it was any more than a puddle, they flew us over it. I hate water. I can't swim either.
Kevin from Donor Box, thank you, Kevin. Has this also been your experience? The actual experts in the firearm field treat others with dignity and respect, never shooting off their mouth. Whenever I see or hear a quote know it all, I instantly know that they don't know much at all. Usually they know the opposite of the truth. The actual experts seem to listen well and speak in polite tones.
Yes. Again, my circle I have within the industry are the actual real world engineers. The guys like me who've been out into these countries. We've seen how these guns perform. We've had problems. You come back, we fix them. Um, these are the true experts. These are not the internet
Yeah.
guys. You do have some good guys out there on the internet. But it's different. These guys are out there trying to entertain you. Doing some stuff like that. But for as far as the true experts on the mechanics and all that stuff, you don't see too many of them even come on these channels because they're like me. I went on YouTube I'm sorry, YouTube, but Air15.com as an industry expert when I was working for Colt. I just had people arguing with me. I've got engineering documentation right in front of me that is why things were done, and they want to argue with me. And I gave up on it because, as I said, I go on there to help people. I'm not going to get verbally abused and argue with people and try to convince them. Um, as I said, I can tell a true expert right off the bat because we do we listen because we know we don't know everything. And your thing is to if we don't know something, we're going to tell you that. You hear me all the time. If you ask me a question, I don't know what I tell you because there's always somebody out there who knows more than you do. And when you get caught in a lie or bullshitting, there goes your credibility. So, a true expert always has his ears open and listens and will tell you why something happened. But they're far and few between in the industry. But again, this industry also scares them away. When you go into air15.com, as I said, my last post was that Gene Stoner himself would come on here and tell you why he did something, and some of those guys would argue with him. It's not worth an expert's time to go on those to try to help people. We're better off trying to do it like this, where you know who you feel are experts, and then we can talk directly
Well, I can tell you, after doing 4 days of straight interviews where
with
we were
true
spending
experts.
hours and hours every single day for 4 straight days, um, those guys, each one of them, all 4 interviews, and you have the leaders of companies. You have
Yes,
Carl Lewis from LMT, you have George Hong from Battle Arms Development, you have Chris Royce as the lead. And one of those guys exudes any kind of air. They are humble and they are respectful. and probably each one of them don't even understand why they're a big deal. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if people are arrogant and defensive, that kind of calls out who they really are and what their character is.
Yes.
Nolan on Donor Box, thank you, Nolan. Would you consider something similar to the POF Revolution a good compromise between the M4 and M5, possibly in a different cartridge rather than 308 Win?
I am not convinced that particular rifle is a go-to rifle. The way the bolt was trimmed down and such, the bolt doesn't seem nearly as strong as the original one for a 30 caliber or for that type of a platform. I don't, I don't know. I've got some shooting experience with it. I don't own one. Again, that's one of those ones that's extremely expensive, and I can't justify buying one to do testing and everything. And we don't, again, our channel isn't making the kind of money where we can go out and buy guns to do stuff like that. Quite frankly, it's not a route that I would go. If I wanted something in that platform, I would go with like the LMT MWS, and I can change out barrels to whatever caliber that I may want. I would go that way. I wouldn't try to go down to something like that. I mean, quite frankly, I like better how DPMS did their Gen 2. To me, that seemed like it was a little stronger than even what POF did with that particular gun. I do have one of those myself, and I've had quite a bit of shooting with the DPMS Gen 2. I like it. But again, smaller means more recoil. I think I would just rather have my full size, you know, LMT type rifle for that purpose.
Well, I think we've waited long enough. Let's not make them wait any longer, and let's go ahead and draw the name for this battle mug. Please don't spill them.
Drum roll. They're two together. Daniel Haney.
Let me see. Yep, Daniel Haney.
So what we will do is you get with us and get us
Daniel Haney.
information.
I will
and we will contact.
I will send you an email right now, Daniel. And if you're in here,
then once we get your information, we'll get over to Beth. I can have it made for
you. Yeah, and you can. He'll be able to tell me what name he wants. Okay, let me email him. Let me pull your question while I email him. Let's see. Why did the LMT New Zealand rifle not have the upgraded BCG? Would you say the Mars L is the best available production AR-15 available?
They said what they wanted. The Kiwis said what they wanted. With a 16-inch barrel, with the mid-length gas system, the enhanced bolt carrier was not really necessary. However, we went to their special forces weapon, which was a 14.5-inch barrel. There, it made sense because that's what it's designed for specifically. Is that New Zealand made their requirements for each system, and that's how it was filled. So why they didn't go with it across the board. Again, with the 16-inch barrel, I don't think it would offer as much. The bolt, on the other hand, the bolt to me it would be excellent across the board. But was it as necessary for the 16 inches as it was for the 14.5? No. But you have to understand the cost difference between the enhanced bolt and materials versus the other one. It wouldn't have made financial sense for the Kiwis to go ahead and do all that. But again, it was off of their requirements. They did use the enhanced bolt carrier for their special forces weapon, which was the full-length monolithic rail platform with a 14.5-inch barrel.
So I have emailed Daniel. Of course, we'll give Daniel a few days to get back to us. If by any chance I don't hear back from him, I'll just keep the slips and we'll pull a new name, but I'm sure he will respond.
We encourage you guys to go ahead and see the website. Our code.
Also, it doubles as an arm weight.
Yep.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's was it a mortar
shell?
Yeah, that's creative. Yeah. I mean, so definitely
if
you want to get your wife a mortar shell wine glass or just for yourself as a man's wine glass.
They do have a polymer one too, which is one I use most of the time just because I know my kids can't destroy that. My first one of these, I said don't put it in the dishwasher. Sure enough, my kid did that and it destroyed it because dishwashing liquid basically is like strip sanitizing. So I primarily use my plastic one because I know they can't destroy it.
Thank you for telling me about the Radian Mod 1 rifle. Got it for my birthday, and I'm smiling for a week now. Very happy
Mhm.
with my purchase. Now looking for a good LPVO. Thanks again.
One of the nicest ones is the Trijicon VCOG. That's a nice one, and I use a lot of the Vortex ones as well, PVOs. It's on the Vortex line. Also the Sig line too. I use those as well.
Thoughts on the new 6.8 are negative for mass production.
Again, you're looking at a whole new manufacturing process for that, having to put that the steel base on it. So that's expensive technology to do that. So again, this whole thing logistically is going to be a nightmare. They're going to have ammunition that's going to be both the full pressure and the lower pressure. You're gonna see how these guns actually hold up under military conditions with 1,000 psi unsuppressed, and then putting the suppressors on them. Again, to me, this is a complete and utter abortion. I don't. I think it was a completely wrong move. Be a very costly mistake before they're going to realize they're better off with the M4 they have.
Do you foresee any promise in the M250, the replacement for the M240B?
That I do. As long as the technology of the ammunition is good, that to me that's a very good. It's a belt-fed machine gun. It gets you that extra range. That's what it's there for. It needs if you wanted to cut down a mud hut, that's what you're going to use. I think for that particular type of, and I think it's an excellent design, and the cartridge would be good for that. I disagree with the assault rifle. The machine gun, I think, is an excellent upgrade.
GC said he listened to your interview with Carter Lewis on a flight home. You two really click. You should have a web series or more videos together.
I would love to, but like I says,
He doesn't really do
Carl
interviews.
does not, and to get him here in Houston at the same place as I'm at, it was really fortunate that we had
Yeah,
NRA here, and
for sure.
I could get these people here. I can guarantee you, if I
And
have
we
the opportunity to
and
do
we
it again, I
interviewed with him
will.
for hours too. He was great about it.
Again, Carl's been a friend of mine for 20 years. We talk regularly. I've worked with him. I've worked with his company. I've helped him with designs. I helped him with testing. I've helped him with international sales, technical writing. We've been friends for a very, very long time. We have a lot of conversations together, and that was just like a regular conversation me and him would have.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to him, before and after, and it was really funny because they were looking at some different things in Chris's office before we started filming, and because I asked him about the BCG, I was like, that's like one of the enhanced bulk carrier group. Was like, that's one of, like, the number one question we get is like, when are you gonna have more of these? Because I want one. And he's,
Yeah.
just stressing about how volatile the stock is. And every single one of those guys we interviewed said the same thing about aluminum and steel and like how awful everything is.
Costs
And
have doubled on these things.
we're experiencing the same thing in the reprinting of Black Rifle 2 or America's Rifle. Like, my quote has gone up 25% and what it's going to cost. I mean, there's a paper shortage. I mean, who would have thought,
They
like,
were
we were so excited to buy the rights, and it was, financially it was a lot to buy those
mhm.
rights. And then going into like the reprinting of it, everything, it's exciting until you start to deal with the printer and they're like, yeah, we have a paper shortage. And I'm like, seriously? Like, it's the same. It's crazy everywhere,
Yeah.
wherever you go. But they were funny together, and I told him, I said, yeah, your name lights up on his phone, and he's like, I gotta take this call. And so that's why it's been for years. And he was like, well, I try not to call during dinner times. I was like, it doesn't really matter. Chris is gonna take your call regardless.
Well, again, a personal friend that I've known for a long time, and I have so much respect for that man. You can't imagine. He's probably one of my heroes up there near Stoner. A real humble man who's a genius.
Yeah. Um, I'm building a Radian Model 1 300 Blackout. Did I do good?
Oh yes, I have a rating right here behind me. Unfortunately, because of YouTube, I can't show it to you. Um, I've said it to so many people that Josh Underwood, the owner of that company, works with aluminum like Picasso works with oils. He just does an absolute gorgeous job at what he makes. It's just machining beauty, and they run like Swiss watches. I absolutely love them.
Christopher on Donor Box. Thank you, Christopher. Building an AR in 308 will have adjustable gas block and be suppressed. Ordered a JP Silent Capture Spring H2 version. Is this the correct weight for my application?
What caliber?
Right as I delete it. Sorry. 308?
308s normally go with an H3. Again, use the proper longer receiver extension that it'll take, so you can use a regular M16 or M4 type buffers. And you generally want to go with a H3. And for as far as the adjustable gas block, I prefer the Odin ones myself over everybody else's.
Do you think Sonora ran? I'm told not.
I've never heard of it.
I know. Desert Institute is a legitimate school. I can go to it if I don't have access to a gunsmith and actual hands-on training. I do have the GI Bill.
I have to tell you, I've never heard of it. But then again, I've never really looked into those schools because my work was all on the job. I learned as I went. I know there's one that Mac talks about all the time, but pretty much any of these accredited colleges you can use your GI Bill at. Wow,
it's a online gunsmithing school.
I don't know how you would do an online gunsmithing school because you have to actually have the guns in front of you to do it. I guess I probably would not recommend you doing anything online with something like this because this is hands-on.
Yeah.
You have to have the machines. You have to have the to do all the work. I would not recommend you try doing anything like that online. You're not going to learn, and they're just going to take your money and then when you have to do it in the real world, you're not going to have any hands-on experience. So I would not. I would go to one that's an actual school where you go there, you're building guns, you're repairing guns, you're learning about different types to repair. Yeah, don't waste your money, dude.
I can tell you that, in early days with Chris, when he was getting into this stuff, he was just basically attending like all the schools. Like he was doing them for Glock, he was doing them for Colt. Like he was just taking all of them in order to get that knowledge.
Yeah, and then when
maybe we have the Chris Bartocci one-on-one school, the SAS school. What are your thoughts on 30 super carry? Is it a great concept or a gimmick?
Interesting. I got ammunition from Remington, but I can't get a gun. I guess I really want to hold off until I can actually shoot it to get that. However, it looks like a very solid with velocity that it gives you, and with unfortunately, as I said, I can't get access to a gun yet, but I do got ammo.
Between the 10 and 15 size and chamber it for the new cartridge. I don't see any benefit from using SIG rifle.
They never should have gone that caliber to begin with. They should have gone with a 6.8 SBC Spec 2 and left it in the A chamber, and I would have used the LWRCI magazine with it. They just went with the wrong thing altogether. One thing is not going to do everything. You're not going to have one rifle that's going to fit every operation, and that one there, again, it's so big. Close quarter battles. Oh God, I just can't imagine shooting that thing in a room without a suppressor on it. Anyway, mechanically, I'm sure that it works very well. That's a Chris Royce design. When he was doing the MPX, he did a 308 back then. So this is basically based off of that. But they weren't messing around with those kind of short barrels. Short barrels on such high velocity cartridges are not good for a soldier's ears. They're worse than anything that we currently have. You're gonna have a lot of deaf soldiers.
Do you think the AK platform is hopelessly outdated?
Yeah. If what's going on in the Ukraine right now with the Russians, they're fighting World War II tactics. They don't have the ability to fight at night like we do using night vision and IR lasers and such. So they're losing out on a whole wave of modern to work with that. They don't have the equipment. The gun has been obsolete for quite some time. It's still used. If you look at the way the West does things, is very different from the way the East does things. All the Western countries have weapons that are modernized that are making use of all this technology with lights, lasers, IR, night vision, thermal, where the East is just not. AK still work. There's no question they work just 47, but they're, again, World War II technology.
Have you shot the Evolved Weapon System area?
I actually have got my first round done with it. I have another round to do with it. I have been very, very impressed. Again, we haven't actually been to the range since April. I was
He's
there.
been to the
Yeah,
range. It just hasn't been for filming.
yeah. I was there with my apprentice. He's an awesome kid. So we haven't done any filming since April. So as long as it's not raining, and obviously it's going to be probably baking out there. We're going to be out
Oh my
there
God,
doing
yeah.
a lot on Monday.
Yeah. What's your favorite non-air platform 5.56 rifle?
At this point, it'd be a toss up between the Bren 2 and the XCR Lite. I think it will be a hard one. It'll be between those. I also like the SIG MCX. It's hard to say. I guess those probably be my top three.
What do you think the future holds for 10 millimeter?
I think it's going to stay right where it is. It's going to be a regular cartridge. It's going to be used for commercial use. It's going to be used by hunters, people who, sidearms for people who are hunting dangerous game. They're good for law enforcement officers who are out in very rural areas. And I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to stay status quo.
Do you think the new Daniel Defense Ambu lowers and Redesign uppers will compete with LMT?
No, I mean, Daniel Defense is such an expense. They're so expensive. I don't I don't think they're going to be any competition for LMT. Daniel Defense, they do have some military contracts. They overcharge for what their equipment is. They do make good barrels, but I think the cost of what you're getting is just. I think that your money is better spent other places. You can get just as much, if not more, for less money.
For those of you that were not here in the beginning, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Time, we will have a video with Chris Sorors. He is the former lead designer for SIG and Caracal. And you get to have an insider's perspective of what it is like for an engineer to design a weapons platform from the ground up and what goes in with that. He was very nervous about doing this interview, and please leave a loving comment
He's a
and supportive
brilliant
comment.
man.
He's very sweet and brilliant, and he deserves all the accolades, which he will not receive or he will not accept, I should say. Um, we had to make sure to thank his team because that was very important to him. But he is very stressed about this video going up tomorrow. I've been talking to him for the last few days. So if you guys can leave him a nice comment underneath it tomorrow, I would really appreciate it to help him out, make him feel good about doing that interview and committing, his time to sitting down with us.
He's one of the most important designers in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no question.
And
One
he
of the most
does not see
significant.
that at all. And
No.
yeah, and he's a good guy. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. And congratulations to Daniel Haney. I have emailed you. I have not heard back from him yet. So hopefully we will. And we'll keep the tickets just in case. But I'm sure we'll hear back from him. But thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Good night. Talk to you guys soon.